Hi, I'm Corey Gilmore, and this is Adaptive Technology Today. And today, on episode 5, we're going to talk about the Xbox. Now, you probably know, if you're into this show, you probably know that I keep up on technology news and stuff every day. And one of the things that happened recently was the Electronic Entertainment Expo, or E3 as it's called. And as far as I know, there's no news for people with disabilities there, but it made me think about the things that I use my Xbox for, and why I use my Xbox as opposed to something else. Now, when the Xbox 360 came out, which is what I have, by the way, I have an Xbox 360. When that came out, they made a big deal about how the Kinect could track your motion and follow you around the room and you leap and jump and do all these things for games. And of course, being in a power wheelchair, that's not what I use the Kinect for. For me, what I use Kinect for is for voice control. That's right, voice control. So I can do things like, say, Xbox, go to TV and movies, and put on Netflix, and I want to watch this movie and not that movie. That's not exactly how it works, but that's the idea. And it works pretty well. You can choose your movie, you can go back and forth between lists. I'm not going to say it's perfect, but one of the reasons it's not perfect is that none of the Xboxes, they use speech recognition that's powered by Microsoft. But in the company that Microsoft bought a number of years ago called Tell Me, they bought a speech recognition company called Tell Me. And that's what they use to power the Kinect. But the problem with it is that it doesn't require any speech training. Okay? So that means anybody can come up to an Xbox and say, Xbox, do this or do that. And that's a bit of a problem because it's not as accurate as it could be. I'd really like to have to go through more of a speech training situation, the way we do when we use Dragon, or even when you use Siri. To use Siri effectively, you need to correct it when it makes mistakes. There's a place to tap to edit, and you make corrections, and that's how it learns over time. And the Xbox doesn't really have that facility, so it's as accurate as it's going to be, and that's about it. Consequently, if the TV is too loud, that's a problem. One of the problems I ran into, and this is kind of funny, is that during the E3 coverage, of course they mention the Xbox, because it's basically about games and Xbox. Well, the problem was every time they mentioned the Xbox, my Xbox started listening, because somebody said Xbox, which is the magic word. So I referred to my Xbox as the console that must not be named. And so hopefully Microsoft will do something about that someday. But I do use my Kinect for um, getting around, for watching movies, for watching Amazon. You can browse your content because it's pretty much say what you see, which is just fantastic. Absolutely, absolutely awesome. Um, and and that's about accessibility. See, it's not about jumping around the room, but when I'm in bed and stuck there by myself, I can put on a movie by myself, or I can listen to music by myself. And for me, that's a big deal. And I think um, both Apple and Google will respond. Google I/O is coming up. It's on the 26th. Um, I fully expect Android TV to be not only a play for the streaming market like Netflix and Hulu and YouTube and all of that stuff, but also to be about Android powered games. So games that you play on your phone, you can now play on your TV. Um, I fully expect this. And in Apple's case, I think their video game play will be the Apple TV. But until we get good speech, and I don't just mean search like on Amazon TV. I mean until I can say Apple TV, go to Netflix, put this movie on, pause this, play that. I want to listen to this piece of music. You know, it's not as accessible as the Xbox. The Xbox is pretty good if if you're aware that it doesn't have any training of any kind. Now, the Xbox One offers even more new features because, and I have a couple requests out to test these, so uh, I will be doing podcasts when I get a hold of one, so you guys can see what my reactions are and what my um, experience is like. I have a couple requests to get one, but the Xbox One has even more speech features in it. There's a TV guide in there, so if you connect it to your cable box, you can say, Xbox, go to channel 5 and watch, or what's on TV, and it will show you the guide. You can say, I want to watch Price is Right, or I want to watch, I don't know, whatever you like to watch. And that's a big deal. Granted, because the connector's right near the TV, you do have to speak up a bit because the TV produces background sound. And I'm sorry to tell people this because I know it's disheartening, but we don't live in a Star Trek world yet, so the speech is not perfect. We just have to do the best we can. Um, but it's cool. As a friend of mine used to say, it's not how well the bear dances, but the bear can dance, and that's pretty awesome. It's a step. Um, Things like being able to do on the Xbox One. You're watching TV and you think of something and you say, I need to search the web, so you can pull up the web browser right alongside your your TV's your television viewing, or more importantly and more powerful for people with disabilities who are like me, and if they're home alone, they're without a way to reach things, is the ability to make Skype calls by voice. You can say, call Fred or call Tom, and it will just do it. you know. And again, I'm going to be testing these things, but these are things they showed in the demo. And yes, I'm not stupid. I know demos are demos. They're scripted to work perfectly well. I get that. But if it even works half as well as that demo worked when they showed it, man, I want that for accessibility. And everyone was like, oh, look at all the games we're going to be able to do. You know what? I don't really play games on my Xbox. That's not what it's for. It's to help me so I don't need yet another remote with small buttons that I can drop on the floor. That's a whole bunch of no fun. Because you know what you have to do when you drop one on the floor? Help! Help! I'm stuck. Then the person comes and says, you dropped your remote again. You know. Gravity sucks, guys. Just saying. You know. So anytime we can get something that will listen to you even remotely well, I'm all for that. And I will let you know what my experiences are as we go along. I'm very excited. If anyone has one they want to sell or something, you can leave a comment. Yes, you don't have to tell me how bad it works. I know it's not perfect. I know. I get that, you know, the Kinect needs to be a new TV, and they have to connect all the wires, and we're trying to get out of wires. Wires are the bane of my existence. I want everything in the world to be wireless, and I want it now. You know why? Because again, with wires, I have to ask somebody else to hook things up. And they just look at me and say, where does this wire go? What about that wire? Terrible. Terrible. That's not independence, you know? So, someday we will do all these things wirelessly. And I'm looking forward to. I also would like. And this is something Microsoft was working on. We talked about mobile phones, and we talked about the differences between Siri and Google Now. Well, Microsoft has their own virtual assistant, and for those of you who play Halo, you will know that, like the virtual assistant in the game, it's called Cortana. And so what I would like, because I can ask Siri to make I can name a business, and Siri can say, did you mean this business? And you want to call these people? And I can say yes and make a phone call, which means I don't need a phone book. So what I would like is, and Microsoft is working on this, to get Cortana into the Xbox so I can say, make a Skype call to the local pizza parlor so I can sit there by myself and order pizza. And I don't need help to do that. Because just as a person with a disability, there is a difference between needing help and wanting help. The more help we don't need, the better our staff feels, because we have people who approach this kind of weird, and they feel like they're being put upon, like, do this, do that, you know. And nobody wants to be a slave. So that's hard. So the more that we can give these pieces of technology to do, the more independence we have. And so I'm really excited to test the Xbox One and see the differences between that and the 360. And I'm super excited. And by the way, I also wish Nintendo Look, I have a soft spot for Nintendo and would like to see them come back and be on top, of the console, um, of the gaming world. You know, um, I just hope that that happens. So we'll wait and see. Because I know the Wii, when that came out, was very innovative and the first to have true motion. So we'll um, hope to hear from them, and of course I'll be testing that as well when whatever comes out comes out. So stay tuned. We will have more on the Xbox, more on the 360, more on Windows, more on Google, more on iOS, more on Linux. We want to be well-rounded here. I want to give you a perspective that's not biased. When Google has their I/O at the end of the month, we will be right here, watching it with you, or hopefully watching it with you and giving you my reactions. And so, with that, I'd like to thank the Twit team for their inspiration and say goodnight, Leo Laporte, wherever you are.